Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MeanGene Show here on iHeartRadio, powered by Podbean.com. It is a Thursday, May 26, 2022, and I am here to talk about the NBA playoffs update. Dustin Pfeiffer, who normally joins me here on these shows, will not be here today. Dustin is enjoying some time off, but I would do my best to represent Dustin, and I know he is probably somewhere with his fingers crossed, hoping that the Dallas Mavericks get a win tonight. But anyway, we'll talk about that game. But anyway, we are still in the conference finals. Last night, the Miami Heat just blew it. Had an opportunity to win last night, but the Boston Celtics get the win last night, 93-80, and they now lead that series 3 games to 2, with the series returning to Boston. And over in the Western Conference Finals, we have the Golden State Warriors lead the series 3 games to 1 over the Dallas Mavericks. Game 5 tonight in San Francisco. So I'll be talking about that series as well. But before I get into any of that, I will have to be honest with you guys. I have struggled with trying to get a show done this week, and you have to understand why. The events that took place in Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday, with the gunman going out there and killing 19 innocent kids, babies, and at the elementary school, that took a big toll on me. I have grandkids, okay, so, and I have grandkids that live in Texas. As a matter of fact, they live in El Paso, Texas. And if you can recall, a couple of years ago, El Paso, Texas, was the site of a mass shooting as a lone gunman drove all the way from Dallas, Texas, with hate on his mind, went to a Walmart store and shot and killed Hispanic people, which is crazy. And then a couple of weeks ago, we had a similar situation in Buffalo, New York, where a gunman decided to go and kill some black folks in Buffalo at a grocery store. So yeah, I mean, these mass shootings are getting out of control. And regardless of where you stand here on the political side, how can anyone just sit back and look at this and do nothing? And when I say anybody, I'm talking about politicians for the most part. And like Steve Kerr addressed the media the other night, normally in a pregame press conference, the coaches are going to come out and talk about the game, what they expect, blah, 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 that type of stuff. Steve Kerr, who has been very adamant about gun control, his father was actually killed by gun violence. So, and he's just really been a strong advocate of that. And he used his time to address that particular incident that took place on Tuesday. And he basically called out the United States Congress, the United States Senate, about doing something. Because how can you sit and watch this? And you're in a position of leadership. How can you just sit and watch this? You go home to your kids or grandkids, and I'm sure they're questioning you about what are you going to do about this. Maybe even your spouses are questioning you. But to sit and do nothing, it's just ridiculous. But the first thing people will say is, "Well, you can't take our guns away," and I don't think that's what people are saying. But this is just ridiculous. When 18-year-olds who can purchase a gun, don't even know how to use it. These high-powered rifles, weapons, and okay, you tell me. So people that own these guns, are they out doing recreational things? Like, are they in competitions? Or are they out doing sporting events? Are they out? No, they're killing people. Anytime you see someone with an AR-15, when it becomes publicized on how they use this thing, they use it to kill people. Look at the history. Like Google AR-15 shootings, and then see what you'd be surprised what you find. You're going to find a lot of mass shootings involving these weapons, but um, adults owning these things is one thing, but kids, when I'm talking about 18 years old, is completely different, and it's just ridiculous. So this, oh, I got to get myself together here because I almost referred to this 18-year-old kid who's dead. And he was shot by the authorities. But a lot of questions still unanswered. How did this guy get into a school and get into a classroom full of kids and shoot them all? And why did it take law enforcement so damn long to get in there and and get him? And I'm with Steve Kerr. Thoughts and prayers and condolences and moments of silence. It's just getting old. It's really, really getting old. And then you have politicians who are thanking first responders for getting there and preventing further damage. Well, okay, well, so 19 is not enough, you know. And look. Okay, I understand first responders, and we talk about police officers. Well, hell, that's their damn jobs. Okay, just like in the military. It was our jobs to defend and protect. So I mean, you can thank us and reward us all you want, but it's our jobs, okay? So I'm not, that's the first thing. These scripted responses by these politicians is driving me crazy. But anyway, um, you got 19 babies that are no longer with us, and you got these families who were just a couple of days from planning to enjoy the summers with their kids. Who knows? I'm planning to take my grandkids to SeaWorld, which is in San Antonio, and I'm sure some of these parents were probably planning the same thing. So now, but instead of planning a nice summer vacation with these kids and grandkids, they're planning funerals, and that's got to be the most devastating and saddest thing to go through. And I tell you, I didn't have it together. Now I had it together up until they released the names and showed pictures of these babies, and I couldn't put a show together. There was no way. I'm still struggling with this, and I'm trying to get this out there to you. And certainly, I had to give you my thoughts and opinions on this. But anyway, um, Uvalde, Texas, which is not far from here in Houston. And the fact that this stuff keeps happening in Texas, we had a school shooting here a couple of years ago in Texas. Always Texas, 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 Texas. Carry your gun, shoot anybody you want when you want. That's basically the laws here in Texas. But anyway, let's talk about the NBA playoffs if you want to. I'm sure you want to because that's why you're listening to me now. The Eastern Conference Finals of the NBA playoffs. We're a couple of games away. Who knows? We might just be one game away from the Boston Celtics returning to the NBA Finals. I want to say something about first year coach Emi Udoka. We're talking about a first year coach that has his team one game away from getting to the NBA Finals. Now, look, I'm a Lakers guy. You guys know, if you listen to some of these shows, you know how much of a Laker fan I am. And the Boston Celtics and the Lakers are two storied franchises with 17 NBA championships apiece. So we're competing regardless, even when we're not competing. No one, we don't want the Celtics to be the first team to get 18 NBA championships, but they damn sure are looking good, of course. And I had the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors going to the NBA Finals, and I don't think that's going to happen now. And it could, but the Miami Heat blew a golden opportunity last night. And let's just talk about that game last night because first of all, the Boston Celtics, they ran past the Heat 93-80, and they are one win away from getting to the NBA Finals. The first quarter of that game just started out really sluggish. I don't know. I mean, these things happen, but if you're in Miami, you got to put up more than 19 freaking points. You coming out, you know the stakes are high in this game. You know that you're in a position to be up 3 games to 2. You can go to Boston and get it won, and you can come back to Miami. You have the home court advantage because you are the number one seed. But now you done blew it. And these games have been so weird because you don't. These games are so. If you're betting on these games, oh my goodness, I don't know how you can do it because the point spreads and the odds, the over unders are just crazy. This was a very low scoring game last night, 93-80, but you never know who's going to win and by how many. When you think Boston's going to win, they might lose by 20. You think Miami's going to win, they might lose by 20. These games have been so lopsided, but I think one of the reasons why, and this is my opinion, I think the reason why we're getting these lopsided playoff games is just because of shooting. It's all about the shooting. It's all about in the NBA. If you've been watching, they're just shooting 3 pointers. It's 3 pointers, 3 pointers, 3 pointers. And case in point here, and I'm gonna show you one of the reasons why Miami lost that game last night. They shot 15% from the arc. That's the 3 point line. They shot 45 3 pointers and they only made 7. Okay, that's a lousy 15%. All right, don't bother with your calculator. I already got mine. And from the field, they shot 94 baskets and they only made 30, and that's 31%. That's why you get these lopsided games. Now, when I was in Memphis for the Western Conference semifinals between the Warriors and the Grizzlies, that night when the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant beat the Warriors by 50 something points. Well, at one time they was up by 55 points, but they beat them pretty bad. That night, if you go look at the box scores for that night, everything went in. Everything went in. And for the Warriors, things didn't go in now. They probably didn't shoot as bad as what Miami did last night, but that's what it is. That's why you're getting these lopsided games now. And this is my opinion. Other people might see something different, but I just think this is, and they're going to keep shooting. They are going to keep shooting. You never take a bad shot in the NBA. I don't care if you hit three, if you shoot 3 air balls in a row. Well, guess what? 4, 5, 6, and 7 is coming up. You're going to keep shooting. And that's what they tell these guys. These guys are professionals, okay? And any given night, somebody can light you up. But I am disappointed in the play of Jimmy Butler. Now, if Jimmy Butler is hurt, then Jimmy Butler is hurt. Sometimes a hurt player may not be able to help your team. So, I'm thinking Jimmy Butler is going to go out there and put up Jimmy Bucket numbers. That didn't happen. And same thing with Bam Adebayo. It seems like he plays better on the road than he does at home. But you're not getting big time performances from big time players in Miami, and for Boston to have gone in there and just did what they were supposed to do. Let me tell you another thing that makes my point about this poor shooting. So offensive rebounds. Would you believe that Miami had 19 offensive rebounds to Boston's 6? So what did they do with those offensive rebounds? Well, they kept shooting those long threes, right? Remember, I said they shot 45. So what are you doing with the long rebounds? Well, you damn sure ain't going up in there getting layups, even though they did, have 40 points in the paint. But for the most part, it's just a lot of missed shots, a lot of bad shots that were taken from the Miami Heat. But anyway, they just blew a big opportunity. So the scoring, the first half was really a lousy half in that game, but the second half, that third quarter, and a lot of people will say, man, if you really watch an NBA game, watch the first quarter and watch the third quarter. A lot of times, even myself, I say, hey, in a tight game, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter tells me pretty much who's going to win that game. But when it came to the Celtics, I knew that the Celtics was going to win last night. Actually, at this point now, I'm saying the Celtics are going to win this series, regardless of what my pick was previously, saying that it was going to be the Heat and the Warriors in the playoffs, in the NBA Finals. But I just noticed how that game 4, Boston just. I just saw something that told me, okay, this team is going to win. This team, Emi Udoka has this team playing great basketball, and the chemistry with this team, the Robert Williams, Greg Williams, both of the Williams guys are playing great. They're not related to each other. Then you also have Tatum. You have Jaylen Brown. Man, what a slam dunk he put on last night. But you're just getting some great performance. You're getting good bench production. That's helping the Celtics. But the Celtics are on the verge of getting to the NBA Finals, which, by the way, will start on June 2nd. So regardless, so even if Miami was to somehow manage to win Game 6, which I don't see it happening. It could, but and even if the Dallas Mavericks was somehow able to win tonight, and we'll talk about that game here in a minute, then regardless, if both of these series go to a 7, then it doesn't matter. The NBA Finals is going to take place on June 2nd. That's when it's going to start. So, man, we are getting close. We're getting there to the end. So, I also wanted to, before I talk about the next series here, I want to let you know what's going on with the Mean Gene Show. Now, I told you we had a delay with this week's show because of the events that took place in Uvalde, Texas. But we are working on some things. We actually are working on a new deal with a new casino in Las Vegas. Now, we're still with the Westgate Casino in Las Vegas. Okay, nothing has happened there, but we are working on a new deal with a new casino. And I won't tell you the name of that casino, but I'll tell you what, it's a huge deal because if we are somehow successful, then you're going to get the Mean Gene Show from this casino as well as the Sports Kings. Now, the Sports Kings, for those of you who may have been, listening to this show for a long time, the Sports Kings is the original show, and that used to consist of myself, the late Rod Johnson, the late Randy Shortensee, Dustin Pfeiffer. We even had Nicole Key on at one time. Ronnie Brooks had a lot of folks that I've worked with over the years, and we call that show the Sports Kings. And the Sports Kings originated in Texas, 2007, and actually Jim Jeffcoat, two-time Super Bowl champion for the Dallas Cowboys, he was a Sports King, believe it or not, and he used to do that show with us in Dallas. Every week we would do a show at a sports bar called Buffalo. Was it Buffalo Sports Bar and Grill in Dallas, Texas. So yeah, I mean that was quite interesting. But anyway, so it was the Sports Kings, and then I worked with some guys in Houston as part of the Sports Kings. But anyway, it's basically just me and other people doing the show and talking sports. It only became the Mean Gene Show a couple of years ago when I decided to just brand my own name, so to speak. But we're going to bring the Sports Kings back. We're going to keep the Mean Gene Show, of course, and then we have Mr. Picks, Jeff Lambert Sr. Now, Mr. Picks, sports betting handicapper, he's going to launch his show this fall or later this summer, I should say, and that will also be coming from Las Vegas. Now, that's going to come from either this new casino that we're working with. It's also definitely going to come from KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM. That is the station that we're going to be on once the July 1st, I think. Is it? No, it's August 1st. So just in time for the NFL preseason, and we'll go all the way. Actually, we're going to run that show for all the way until the Super Bowl, when the Super Bowl is going to be in Las Vegas 2024. So we got a lot of stuff in the works, and it's exciting stuff. So I wanted to kind of get that out there to you and let you know exactly what is going to be happening. But anyway, so stick around. It's just exciting stuff there. And then of course my producer Rayleigh Cadenhead, she is going to continue to bring on some big time guests. It's been a while since we had Jeremiah Finley on a couple of about a month ago when we did the NFL draft show. Oh, and then now the Sports Kings. Let me talk about that. So the Sports Kings now will consist of myself, Dustin Pfeiffer, and Rudy Reyes. Rudy Reyes has been on this show. Rudy is the host of the Rude Dog Show, and he also does a show for Coachella Sports there in Southern California. And Rudy was my guest host during the NFL draft, that pre-draft show with former Green Bay Packers Jeremiah Finley. So Rudy and Dustin and myself, we will be doing the NFL Weekly Countdown show every week during the NFL season, as well as talking about other sports. And then you got Mr. Picks, who will be working with some other sports book directors and handicappers in Las Vegas, a slew of people that he's going to be bringing on the show, talking about the picks and the odds and who you should bet on, this, that, and the other. It's going to be interesting stuff. So if you're a gambler or a bettor, you'd like to bet on sports, then we're gonna have a treat for you. Well, Mr. Pix is gonna have a treat for you because he's gonna have his own show. I guess he might have me as a guest on his show. I don't know. I don't really know anything about picking winners and losers, so he may not have me on the show. But anyway, it's gonna be exciting though. It's gonna be great stuff. So just stick around. But anyway, um, if all goes well, we will be launching this at this new casino in Las Vegas, which will require me to be in Vegas more than I was last year because we might be there several times a month now. So this is going to be really interesting and a lot of hard work too. But anyway, uh, hey, we'll do anything for entertainment, for listeners, for followers, you name it, we'll do it. And talked to my producer earlier this week, and she's all excited. And she just said, "Hey, I know you were quiet for a reason, and usually when you're quiet, you're starting trouble of some sort." So yes, we are excited. So, okay, Thursday night we have basketball. We have the Western Conference Finals, which will take place in San Francisco. But before I talk about Game Five tonight between the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors, I want to go back and talk about Game Four, which was Tuesday night, and then we talked about Steve Kerr and the comments that he had made, which man, glad he said what he said. But the game itself, the Golden State Warriors was in a position to sweep the Dallas Mavericks, and they didn't. And I'm kind of glad they didn't. I think we kind of want to see this series extended a little bit, but the Dallas Mavericks, man, they came out there and just like what I had said about the um, the Miami Heat. When your shots fall, they fall. When they don't fall, they don't fall. And anyway, the game between the Warriors and the Mavericks the other night, the shot was falling. This was Tuesday night, by the way. The shots were falling. And that's usually what's going to happen. I mean, you got Dorian Finney-Smith had a great game. Jalen Brunson had a great game. Of course, Luka Doncic had a great game, and that's what you're going to need. When you look at the numbers, you could see that 48% is what Dallas shot from the field, which is I'm sorry, I'm looking at Golden State. Dallas shot 50% from the field. So they were actually 41. They made 41 of 82 shots. And then when you look at the three, 46%. They made 20 of 43 threes that they put up. And that's what you're going to need. And Golden State, now Golden State actually shot 48%, and then they shot 35% from the three. But that's what you're going to need there. I mean, you're going to need that to win. So when, like I said, when you get those shots that are going in like that, now Golden State did have 44 points in the paint. How about Jonathan Kuminga? One thing I can say about Steve Kerr and his coaching, man, he does not discriminate when it comes to putting players in the game. I think one of the announcers said it during the game. You better be ready. It's just not like, okay, you got bench warmers on Golden State's bench. Man, Steve Kerr goes what, 10, 11 deep? This is amazing. So you will play Moody, the rookie from Arkansas. There, he's. I mean, you got to get quality playing time if you Golden State Warriors. And man, Steve Kerr, he learned from the best. Greg Popovich and Phil Jackson. He played for both of these coaches, won championships with both of these coaches. This guy knows what the hell he's doing, man. And wow, but the Mavericks, hey, they did what they needed to do on Tuesday night. And what you think about the leaky roof there? That was very interesting. Now, here in Texas, well, I'm in Houston. We got some rain, but nothing like North Texas. North Texas is considered the Dallas area, of course. They got a ton of rain, and they're always getting some sort of crazy weather up there. But it rained so hard and for so long that the roof of the American Airlines Arena, which is right there off Interstate 35, if you're familiar with Dallas, and I did not know that arena was 20 years old. I remember when it opened, But man, it still looks good. I mean, maybe it is 20 years old now when you get that type of wear and tear from the brutal weather that they get up there, and that it was leaking, and you could see the rain coming down there. But it was crazy that it was leaking on the Golden State side. So anyway, the game was delayed, and but they got it back underway, and of course. The Warriors still couldn't catch up. The Mavericks just had and even at that time, the Mavericks had a big lead, and it was, at some point you knew that Steve Kerr was gonna just say, nah, I don't think we're gonna get this one. How about, we go back to San Francisco, up 3 games to 1, which they have a chance to win tonight. So let's talk about that and how this is going to probably happen. So I actually think the Warriors are going to win. Now, the Warriors, man, can you just, I mean, look, this team, just what, the 2018-2019 season, they were in the NBA Finals. Now, they lost to the Toronto Raptors, but they were there. And then remember, they went back to back a few years prior to that. So the fact that this team fell from grace just a couple of years. After the Raptors lost, then you had the bubble year, and which Lakers won, and then you came back and the Milwaukee Bucks won. So the Warriors, the fact that Clay Thompson gets hurt, back to back, they don't have him, and then for some reason they stink it up for a year or two and come up with these tremendous draft picks: Jordan Poole, Kaminga, and Wiseman, who has yet to play this year because he's hurt. But it's just amazing the talent. And then they just picked up Moody, who just Moody from Arkansas. This guard, he just lands on a. He might be going to the NBA Finals and getting a championship in this rookie season. But it's just amazing. But I think Jordan Poole is probably the one guy that no one saw this talent coming from this guy. Well, the Warriors did, of course. That's why they drafted him. But they are in a prime position. But they still have Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, and they have Wiggins. They have Looney. I mean, they just have a hell of a squad there. And for the Mavericks to get this win tonight and force a game 6 back in Dallas, they are going to have to come out with everything. They are going to have to shoot lights out again. They're going to have to play defense, and I just don't see it, folks. I don't see how they are going to be able to get that done. Usually Steph Curry plays very well at home, and it's just kind of interesting how they can just shrug off a loss and say, you know what? Hey, we in the driver's seat. Hey, we're up 3 games to 1. Really? And everyone knows the record for teams that go up 3 games to 0 in a series is 146-0. And it's just, come on. The writing is on the wall, so to speak, and they'll get the win tonight. I just don't see they're not going to make the trip back to Dallas, okay? Um, and take that chance on making this series go the game 7. I expect Jordan Poole to have a big game tonight. I expect all of the Warriors to just be up for the occasion to get this series over, so they can just basically kind of watch and see what's going to happen with Boston, because I think Boston's going to wrap things up. And you don't want to be caught out there steady playing, because the league has already said, hey, June 2nd, that's when the NBA Finals is going to start. So no one wants to be playing all the way through Memorial Day weekend, which is coming up here. And I think the Warriors are going to get the job done. But I will say, and watching the Dallas Mavericks, man, I was definitely impressed with how they played. I think Jason Kidd is doing a great job with this team. But, man, what is it going to take, though? I'm really disappointed with Spencer Dinwiddie, because they brought this guy over during the regular season. Dinwiddie had some pretty good games. They're not getting a lot of help from Dinwiddie. And I think, Bronson is being consistent. And, man, thank goodness for Dorian Finney-Smith that really helped the Mavs in that game with his 23 points the other night. But I don't know what Dinwiddie, 10 points. He's just not Kleber had 13 points. And Luca cannot be asked to do it all, even though he's going to try to do it all. And even Bullock had 18 points. Bronson, 15 points. But you know, they are not going to win games where uh, if Dinwiddie does, especially games on the road, they really need Dinwiddie. And I expect Bronson to have a big game tonight. He plays good on the road, but I would think that has to be a disappointment. It didn't look like it was going to be a disappointment, but now it really does look like it's going to be a big disappointment there, especially in the playoffs. I just really thought Dinwiddie was going to get it done. He just has been like a ghost in the playoffs. So, and that's going to be unfortunate. And it's going to be interesting to see with the draft coming up, the NBA draft coming up, what's going to happen with Spencer Dinwiddie and how the Dallas Mavericks are going to move forward. But if you're a Golden State Warriors fan and if you're a Boston Celtics fan, man, you're in the driver's seat. You're looking good. And if you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan, you do not want the Celtics getting number 18, that 18th championship, because the Lakers and Celtics are tied now with 17 championships apiece. Can you believe of all the NBA finals and championships that the Lakers and Celtics own 34 of them? Amazing, right? So that's why these two teams are storied franchises. But man, the Laker fans are definitely pissed that the Celtics have risen to excellence again before them. And I had to talk about the Lakers, right? And Juwan Howard apparently was approached quietly, secretly, privately by the Lakers to coach the team. And of course, no one knew about this until Juwan Howard turned down the opportunity to coach the team. He wants to stay in Michigan, and but you got to think that hurt a little bit. I don't know who reached out to Juwan, but Juwan did publicly say, "Hey, he wants to stay put," and who wouldn't want to coach the Los Angeles Lakers? But apparently nobody. But anyway, more on that. We'll be talking about that more. I get Dustin Fife on. We'll get his thoughts and opinions on that. But anyway, folks, we're going to go ahead and close this show. We're going to get ready for tonight's game between the Warriors and the Mavericks, game 5 of the NBA Western Conference Finals. We'll come back next week and get our NBA Finals show on with Dustin Pfeiffer. So, hey, enjoy the rest of your evening and continue to pray for the folks in Uvalde, Texas. Okay, you have been listening to the MeanGene Show here on iHeartRadio, powered by Podbean.com.